Welcome back, Alyssa Pajoli, Life Mindset Leadership Coach, and today we are talking about perfectionism because, it's so near and dear to my heart, and it's come up in a lot of conversations in my success coaching calls for the Health Coach Institute. So, I recently read an article it was titled, "Perfectionism is just fear in a fancy suit." And at first I was like, hell no. And then I read it and I was at the end and I'm like, damn, there's a lot of truth to this. And so, type A, recovering perfectionist here, I've realized that perfectionism comes from the root within you of not feeling good enough, not feeling adequate enough, not being worthy enough, which is quite sad because when I think back to the times in which I struggled with perfectionism most, I did a lot of things to overcompensate my own health and well-being and happiness, to have a perfect project or to try to create a perfect relationship or to be the perfect person that people knew me as, like the current identity I was trying to play, to try to be the best at everything. And so it's interesting because a lot of people I feel can get convinced by, well, being a perfectionist or a control freak is really they're good qualities to have. And I have to disagree. When you think about what perfectionism or people who are really big in needing to control situations, it all stems back from a lack of trust, a lack of clarity, and a lack of connectedness. And so then those three things cultivate to where then you're at a point in feeling anxious and depressed. And that anxiety and depression makes you not make healthy choices for food. It likely makes you not want to work out and move, as well as it impacts your sleep. So then you have these three things of eating, moving, and sleep that are impacted to then stream into fueling how you're showing up at work. Which leads me into my next problem with perfectionism, is it's the number one leading cause of procrastination. And the procrastination is then angst by the anxiety too. So there's really nothing happy and healthy that is tied to this perfectionism so far. And so here you are then procrastinating at work. People are getting pissed off because you're not finishing or completing something fast enough. And then you're sitting at your desk or your office space and you're feeling frustrated because you don't even know where to begin. And then you have a lot of judgment because you haven't gotten it done. And then when you do get it done, you're going to feel rushed. So is it going to be perfect? It's this whole cycle, right? And so that's just one pillar or portion of where perfectionism shows up and is negatively impacting who you're able to be. The other part of perfectionism is your at-home life, whether it's your living space and how it looks, or the dynamic between you, your partner, your spouse, or your child. Because you have this perfectionism gene as part of your identity, you're likely not aware of the subconscious stress, identity crisis, and disconnect it's causing your deep loved ones to be experiencing. And I'm guilty of this myself, people. I'm not just coming from a judgmental educational standpoint. I've literally been told by my exes that living with me is very, very stressful because it's like walking on eggshells because they don't know if the blanket's folded right or everything's in its space. And so what's interesting about just a simple thing like that is that pressure of who I am and how I like things, without me even sometimes realizing it, creates a lot of stress, anxiety, and inhibiting beliefs of I'm not good enough or I'm not worthy for the people I love most, whether it's my partner, my siblings, or my nephews or my parents. And so with perfectionism, my invitation for you today is to let it go. To go to the mirror, look at yourself, and say you are enough. And that your 50% is likely someone else's 80 to 90%. And so to not let your perfectionism get in the way. Because no matter what you do, you are good enough. You are worthy enough. And until you understand where the rooted disservicing beliefs of your identity and self-worth are coming from, you're not going to be able to correct it. So not only go and start to work and cultivate those beliefs so you can diminish some of this perfectionism from showing up in your world, but also talk openly about it, address it, make it real. Because if something's not real through awareness, there will be no urgency in fixing it. And in fixing it or releasing it is only going to help you for the better. So why not start today? You're doing good. If you have any questions, comments about perfectionism, drop me a comment below or go to my website, schedule a call. I'd love to serve you powerfully in this.